At 7:23 p.m. on a Tuesday night, Arthur sat alone in a restaurant full of people. He had saved for 3 months to afford this meal. He didn't come for the food. He came because this was the last place he remembered feeling happy. He didn't know that tonight, a stranger's hands would feed him. And he didn't know that before the night ended, that stranger would be crying in the kitchen. Some stories are best enjoyed with a warm cup in hand. At Coffee House TV 95, we serve them fresh, so come in before your coffee gets cold. Derek didn't see the man. He saw an inconvenience, a table that wouldn't tip well, a slow order that would cut into his commission. But across the restaurant, behind the swinging kitchen doors, someone else was watching. Marco had a rule: never get involved with the customers. Just cook. Just survive the rush. Just go home. But Arthur's hands, those shaking hands, they reminded him of someone. Someone he couldn't save. His face told a story. Deep wrinkles, kind of eyes that looked tired. He stared at the menu, but his eyes weren't moving. He wasn't reading. He was somewhere else entirely. He wore a worn but clean plaid shirt with a frayed collar. The kind of shirt you hold onto because it still feels like home. The restaurant was busy and upscale. Waiters glided between tables. Laughter erupted from a birthday party in the corner. Champagne glasses clinked in celebration. And the old man sat alone at a small 2-person table near the kitchen, invisible in plain sight.
Good evening, sir. Can I start you with something to drink while you look that over?
A young waiter named Derek approached Arthur's table. He was in his 20s, polished, and visibly impatient. He looked at Arthur, the frayed collar, the trembling hands, and his lip curled slightly. Not quite a smirk, but close enough. Derek didn't see a man. He saw an inconvenience, a table that wouldn't tip well, a slow order that would cut into his commission. In a dismissive tone, he asked if Arthur was ready to order, mentioning the kitchen would close soon, as if Arthur was wasting his time. Arthur softly ordered the salmon and water. Derek was already walking away before Arthur finished speaking.
We always had time.
But across the restaurant, behind the swinging kitchen doors, someone else was watching. Through the round window of the kitchen door, Chef Marco stood at the pass, the long table where finished plates go. He was in his late 30s, with tattoos on his forearms and a scar above his eyebrow. He looked tough, but his eyes were soft. He watched Derek walk away from Arthur's table. He saw Arthur's hands shaking as he tried to unfold his napkin. The napkin wouldn't open. Arthur's fingers fumbled. After a moment, he gave up and placed it on his lap, still folded. It was a small defeat, but defeat nonetheless.
This was her favorite, wasn't it?
Yes, she loved the chef's kindness. You're not alone.
Chef Marco turned back to his station. A mountain of orders waited. Tickets lined up. The dinner rush was peaking. Marco had a rule: never get involved with the customers. Just cook. Just survive the rush. Just go home. But Arthur's hands, those shaking hands, reminded him of someone he couldn't save. In his mind, a memory surfaced. A younger Marco sitting with his grandfather, whose hand shook the same way as he tried to lift a spoon. Young Marco gently took the spoon and fed him. His grandfather smiled. A tear rolled down his cheek. Marco blinked, shook his head, and grabbed a pan. But the memory lingered. Should Marco get involved? He was busy. He had a job to do. Was it really his place? Derek placed the salmon in front of Arthur. It was a beautiful plate, perfectly prepared. But Arthur looked at it with something like fear. He picked up his fork. His hand shook violently. The fork clattered against the plate. At a nearby table, a woman whispered to her husband. Arthur was startled, assuring the chef that the food was fine. Marco replied with warmth in his voice, saying he knew it was lovely because he made it. When Arthur realized he was speaking to the chef, Marco explained simply that he noticed Arthur wasn't eating, so he thought maybe he could help. Arthur's eyes welled up with tears, not from sadness, from relief, from being seen. Marco picked up the fork. He cut a piece of salmon. He lifted it gently toward Arthur, and then he shared something personal. His grandfather had Parkinson's. Near the end, his hand shook just like Arthur's. He was so proud that he wouldn't let anyone feed him. He stopped eating instead. He wasted away because no one sat with him. Arthur's voice broke as he explained that he didn't have Parkinson's, but something else progressive. His daughter used to help him, but she moved away. She doesn't call anymore. Arthur took the bite, chewed slowly. A single tear fell onto his plate. The restaurant had gone quiet. Other tables were watching. The whispering woman now looked ashamed. Derek stood frozen near the bar, holding a wine bottle, watching the scene unfold. Marco asked why Arthur chose this restaurant tonight. Arthur looked around and explained that this was his place with his wife. Every anniversary for 43 years. She loved the salmon. She said it was the only salmon worth eating. When Marco asked if she still came, Arthur's voice grew quiet. She passed 6 months ago. Today would have been their 50th anniversary. He didn't want to be alone. Marco replied softly that he wasn't alone. He cut another piece and fed him. Arthur ate like a child being cared for by a parent. Derek watched from the bar. His expression was unreadable. Guilt? Shame? Realization? The question hung in the air. Should Derek lose his job for how he treated Arthur? Or did he deserve a chance to learn? The whispering woman from the nearby table stood up. She walked to Arthur's table, holding a napkin with something inside. Her voice was filled with regret as she apologized for what her husband said. She placed the napkin on the table. Inside was a $100 bill. Dinner was on them. And happy anniversary.
I don't need your money, but I need you to do something for me. Call your mother or your grandmother. Call someone who might be eating alone tonight. Tell them you love them.
Derek approached the table. He looked at Marco, then at Arthur. His voice was quiet and genuine as he apologized for judging Arthur. He admitted he was wrong. He asked if he could bring anything, coffee, dessert on him. Arthur smiled and accepted the coffee. Then he offered Derek some wisdom. "You're young," he said. "You're learning. Just remember, every table is someone's story. Don't read the cover and walk away." The restaurant emptied. Last call. Marco walked Arthur to the door. Arthur thanked him for seeing him. Marco replied with equal gratitude. "Thank you for letting me." Arthur reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn leather wallet. From it, he took a folded photograph. It was his Eleanor, a beautiful woman in a 1970s dress, laughing, sitting at a table, the same table Arthur had occupied all evening. Arthur said she always said the chef here had kind eyes. She was right. Marco didn't cry for Arthur's wife. He cried because for one night, he got to save someone his grandfather taught him to love. He cried because in feeding a stranger, he fed the part of himself that had been hungry for years. He cried because kindness, real kindness, doesn't just change the person receiving it. It changes the person giving it, too. The empty restaurant, the table where they sat, 2 coffee cups still there, side by side. Morning light streamed through the windows. Backhand index pointing right. Do you think anyone would have done the same in Marco's place? Backhand index pointing left. Subscribe. Share this story with someone who needs to be seen today.